Imagine standing on a prehistoric savanna where a pride of 1,000 lions faces down 1,000 dinosaurs. This is not just a clash of fangs and claws, but a massive biological simulation involving two entirely different designs for life, separated by 66 million years of evolution. To understand who wins, we have to look past the cinematic roar and analyze the biomechanics, metabolic heat, and group intelligence of these vastly different predators. When we talk about dinosaurs in a vague sense, we often default to the Tyrannosaurus rex. But the taxonomic variety within that group changes the math of this encounter entirely. If we choose the Utahraptor as the primary adversary to match the lion's weight class, we are looking at a fight between mammalian pack hunters and feathered, sickle-clawed reptiles that operated like biological meat cleaver machines. A male lion weighs roughly 400 pounds and acts as the ultimate defensive specialist of the African plains. It features a heavy mane designed specifically to protect its neck from the lethal bites of its rivals. This mane is not just aesthetic. It acts as physical armor against the exact type of jugular-seeking attacks a predator might use. Against a Utahraptor, which stood 15 feet long and weighed close to 1,500 pounds, the lion is starting at a severe mass disadvantage. In the animal kingdom, mass is usually the ultimate decider. 1,000 lions represent 400,000 pounds of muscle and aggression, but 1,000 Utahraptors would weigh nearly 1.5 million pounds. This 3-to-1 mass ratio suggests the lions would need to work in perfect synchronization just to bring down a single opponent, whereas a raptor needs only one successful hit to end a lion's life. The weaponry of the dinosaur is built on a different mechanical principle. While a lion kills through suffocation, clamping its jaws onto the throat of a buffalo for several minutes, the raptor utilizes a massive second toe claw used as a piercing tool. This claw was not meant for slashing, but for stabbing into vital organs or arteries, causing massive internal hemorrhaging. In a 1,000-on-1,000 brawl, the lion's strategy of the long hold is a liability. While one lion tries to suffocate a raptor, the other 999 raptors are moving freely. Speed and metabolic efficiency play a massive role here too. We often think of dinosaurs as sluggish lizards, but modern paleontology suggests these theropods were likely mesothermic or endothermic. They had high metabolic rates, meaning they could sustain high-energy chases and fights just as well as a mammal. However, lions have one distinct advantage evolved over millions of years of social structure: the pride. Lions are the only truly social felids. They understand flanking, baiting, and cooperative takedowns. 1,000 lions would naturally organize into tactical units, whereas there is still debate on whether dromaeosaurids hunted in coordinated packs or just as an unorganized mob scavenging at the same carcass. If the lions can isolate individuals from the dinosaur pack, they could theoretically use their superior social intelligence to overcome the weight gap. This changes if we scale the dinosaurs up to the apex predators like the Tyrannosaurus rex or Giganotosaurus. If 1,000 lions faced just 10 T-Rexes, the battle would still be incredibly lopsided. A T-Rex jaw could exert 12,000 pounds of pressure, literally exploding the bones of a lion in a single bite. The lion's claws, while sharp, would struggle to penetrate the thick, pebbled hide of a multi-ton theropod. It would be like a house cat trying to take down a grizzly bear. The sheer scale of 1,000 lion force is deceptive because they require an immense amount of space to maneuver. In a dense battlefield, the lions would likely end up trampling one another or getting caught in the crossfire of their own chaotic movements. The dinosaurs, being bipedal, have a higher vantage point. A Utahraptor eyes sit much higher than a lion's, giving them better battlefield awareness. They can see the movements of the pride from dozens of yards away, preventing the lions from using their favorite tool, the ambush. In a head-to-head clash on open ground, The bipedal stance of the dinosaur allows for more versatile kicking and slashing movements, whereas the lion is largely grounded on four legs, needing to spring upward to reach the vital areas of their taller opponents. This jumping action leaves the lion's soft underbelly exposed to those devastating toe claws. We also have to consider the environment of this simulation. If this fight happens at night, the lions gain a massive sensory edge. Cats have a tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer behind the retina that allows them to see in near total darkness. While we believe some dinosaurs were nocturnal, many large theropods likely relied on daylight for their highly visual hunting styles. A nocturnal raid by 1,000 lions would be a slaughter of confused, sight-deprived reptiles. The lions could pick their targets, strike the legs to topple the giants, and retreat before a counterattack could be organized. But in the heat of a midday sun, the reptiles might actually have better thermal regulation for a prolonged fight. Large reptiles are excellent at shedding heat, whereas a lion can quickly overheat during intense physical exertion, leading to muscle failure and exhaustion. Another factor is the bone density and skeletal structure. Mammalian bones are generally more flexible, but prone to snapping under the sheer crushing force that a large dinosaur can generate. Theropod bones were often hollow and light to allow for speed, but they were reinforced with internal struts, making them incredibly strong for their weight. A lion swiping at a raptor's leg might find it as sturdy as a tree trunk. If we look at the psychological aspect, lions are brave, but they are also calculated. They do not fight to the death if the odds are impossible. They retreat to survive another day. Dinosaurs, with much smaller brains relative to body size, might have been more driven by pure instinct or aggression. In a fight of 1,000 against 1,000, the first side to break and run loses. If the lions realize their bites aren't killing the dinosaurs quickly enough, the pride might dissolve into a rout. The sheer noise of the encounter would be deafening. A lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away. Used to intimidate and coordinate, we don't know exactly what a Utahraptor sounded like, but it likely produced low-frequency rumbles or hissing that could vibrate through the ground. This sensory overload would turn the battlefield into a nightmare of sound and motion. If we consider smaller dinosaurs like the Deinonychus, the numbers start to favor the lions. At only 160 pounds, a Deinonychus is significantly smaller than a male lion. The lion's superior grappling ability and weight would allow it to pin the dinosaur and deliver a killing blow to the neck much more effectively. In this scenario, 1,000 lions would likely shred 1,000 Deinonychus because the power-to-weight ratio swings back to the mammals. But the legendary status of the dinosaur usually implies the giants. Let's look at the logistics of 1,000 dinosaur army. The amount of caloric energy required to keep 1,000 large theropods moving is staggering. In a prolonged siege, the lions would actually have the advantage of being able to survive on less food for longer. But in a sudden death match, that doesn't matter. What matters is the immediate output of violence. The lion's paw swipe is one of the fastest movements in the predatory world, capable of delivering hundreds of pounds of force. But against a reptilian hide that evolved to withstand the bites of other dinosaurs, a claw swipe is merely a superficial wound. To truly kill, the lion must get to the throat. To get to the throat, the lion must bypass the dinosaur's mouth. This is the fatal flaw in the lion's plan. A dinosaur's mouth is essentially a suite of serrated knives designed to pull flesh off bone. The lion is a precision instrument, while the theropod is a demolition tool. The sheer variety of dinosaur species also means we could be looking at armored herbivores like the Ankylosaurus. If 1,000 lions fought 1,000 ankylosaurs, The lions would lose every single time. There is no biological way for a lion to bite through bone armor or avoid a tail club that swings with the force of a car crash. Even the smartest lion pride cannot solve the puzzle of a living tank. When we simulate these battles, we see that the King of the Jungle title is purely a modern designation. In the Cretaceous period, the lion would be at the bottom of the specialized predator food chain. The gap in size, the difference in killing mechanics, and the sheer structural durability of the dinosaur give the ancient reptiles the win in almost every fair-sized matchup. The only way the lions win is through a perfect combination of nighttime conditions, extreme coordination, and a much smaller dinosaur species. If it's the classic prehistoric monsters we see in films, the lions are simply outclassed by the physics of scale. 1,000 lions is a terrifying force. But against the titans of the past, they are merely a large collection of soft targets. This thought experiment shows us how much the world changed after the extinction event. Mammals didn't take over because they were better fighters. They took over because the heavyweights were removed from the board, leaving room for smaller, more efficient designs to thrive. In a direct collision of the two eras, the sheer raw power of the dinosaur age remains unmatched. This highlights the reality of nature. It doesn't matter how brave you are if your opponent weighs 4 times as much and has a mouth full of railroad spikes. The legacy of the lion is one of social complexity and precision, but the legacy of the dinosaur is one of absolute physical dominance. If you enjoyed this deep dive into prehistoric combat, make sure to look into the actual fossil evidence of interspecies conflict to see how these theories hold up in the dirt.